Hi, this is David with EV World News. We talk about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. I'm happy to say I've got Adib Khaldi in with me today from Simple Picks. How's it going, Adib?
Good, David. Thanks for having me again.
I think this could be quite interesting because we've talked a lot about Rivian and we've got some interesting news. So they had earnings yesterday, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
I saw yesterday they plunged 25% after earnings. And I thought that was really interesting. Now, they also announced some layoffs. So their story's a little different, right?
I agree with you. Actually, in terms of where we anticipated Rivian is going to be, definitely in discount territory right now.
Mhm.
Just let me share what I'm looking at here.
I've talked about a lot about this company because Jeff Bezos or Amazon owns, I think, believe they're the largest shareholder,
Yeah.
and they either own 1/8 or 1/6 of the company. And they're making their vans. And if nothing else, they
Bezos
make money on the vans.
Bezos has been selling Amazon stock nonstop this past month.
Since he
Uh,
moved to Florida,
sorry?
doesn't have to pay the state capital gains anymore from where he
Mhm.
was.
Start of 2024, he started selling. But Rivian, unfortunately, from a technical perspective, I mean, yeah, maybe they are cutting their workforce. Maybe that is better in terms of automation and the future trajectory and guidance that they're looking to set out. I guess what I should have realized while looking at this chart and maybe noted out to a lot of the viewers that tune in terms of technical analysis is this is a whole big head and shoulder formation. If you look at an average, I'm gonna just pull it up here, head and shoulder pattern stock, and just to show you the very basic type of structure that usually can result in similar types of action. So let me just tilt my screen here. So if you notice in technical trading, there's a pattern that a lot of traders like to identify, and that's usually called the head and shoulder pattern. Now, don't mistake it for the shampoo, Head and Shoulders. So essentially, what this usually signifies is an exhaustion in buyers and room for sellers to take that price down. Typically, it's controlled by something that they call the neckline. And usually, when that neckline, typically what I like to call a line in the sand, breaks,
Right.
you see a collapse. So I'm just gonna get you guys to kind of realize this shoulder, head, and a shoulder, and then down, and then let us just look at the chart here again. And you can quite notice this is the left shoulder, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder. And you can see that once that right shoulder stopped holding out, we immediately dropped from $15 all the way down to $10. So that's a very, very basic technical analysis pattern that kind of, um, you know, shows the significance of it. A lot of traders look for these things. But if I just want you guys here as our viewers to notice one key thing in my trading and how I look at certain things. We drew these two lines in the sand, as you can see, quite a while ago. And as you can see, as soon as it hit that line in the sand and just wasn't looking too good to the traders on the day of earnings, unfortunately, that shoulder broke out. And here we are today. See the significance of that? So, um, I don't like to trade earnings for these very reasons. Obviously, this could have been a fake out, and all the traders and technical analysts would have said, "Oh, well, it was going to be, but it isn't." Here we see that it has played out. This has actually exceeded my expectations to the downside. I'll be very honest with you. I thought we would remain in this kind of range here especially with everything going on in EV and the elections coming up. But it seems like the market doesn't like it. So this is discount territory for me right now. I would probably assume that this stock is going to be okay up until the next earnings, which is going to be on the 24th of May. Sorry, the 8th of May, 2024. I think that's when we're going to see a retest here of this $14, $15 zone. And if they do well, if they guide based on what they've, set out here, it may come back to the higher ranges to retest. But what a nasty, brutal sell-off in a matter of 2 months, from $25 all the way down to $10. That's more than a 70% discount.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how much that's dropped. And even with Rivian announcing some lower cost versions of its two popular vehicles. I mean, it has two consumer vehicles, just one truck and one SUV, but they're going to introduce a couple of models that have slightly less range with smaller batteries so they can lower the price a good chunk. And that wasn't really enough there to get the interest.
Not enough end line result.
In 2 weeks, they're introducing a new vehicle called the R2. And the R2, I'm assuming there's going to be, so they currently have the R1T and the R1S. One's a truck, one's an SUV. I'm assuming they're doing the same thing there. There's going to be a truck version and an SUV version that are also going to be less expensive. So maybe we'll see something come out of when they reveal that on March 7th.
Very nice. Very nice. So that's probably another catalyst to maybe potentially hold the price in place and recover the chart here. But as of right now, this is not something you want to touch, especially after such violent downside. So I would wait, but I would most certainly say this is, to me, my opinion, discount territory here. And this whole between $10 to $15 is probably where the next big move is gonna be accumulated for. So my eyes are now on Rivian as a potential buy alongside with Lucid, one of the ones I continuously watch and I'm covering.
All right, great. I think that's enough time on Rivian. Why don't we go ahead and let's go ahead and go to Lucid then.
Lucid, sure. A little bit better since those down offs of the 260s and 270s. If you recall, to your viewers, we had signified that it was a near bottom around the 250, 260 mark. But again, it's an unprecedented bottom, meaning I don't have any history as somebody who observes technical analysis to be able to kind of give any kind of reading on it. It proved to be true. So investors and buyers came in and protected that 250 zone. Here we are today at $3.02. Where do I see Rivian doing here? I see Rivian floating in the same direction, up until probably the summertime. I notified, if you recall, in our last show that I don't see much more upside here. It's at resistance, if you recall. And that was around here when we were on your show. It was around like 350 or 360. And I told you it's probably going to retest that line in the sand again here and fall below it. It did. So where would I look to snag Lucid? In this zone again here. This is the discount buy zone. Anywhere between $2.60 to $3 is now my target area. Is it going to move anywhere violently fast like we might have predicted on the first show we were here and we gave out some calls? No, we don't see that happening. If we did, we would be bullish and give out some calls. So right now it's time to accumulate. And this is a discount zone for Lucid alongside with, I think, a lot of the EV stocks that we're going to continuously look at.
Well, I see all this news about the EV demand going down, but the truth is, over the last year, EV demand has gone up considerably, but at the same time, overall car demand has gone down quite a bit. And so a lot of and I've reported on this in the past week, a lot of your car manufacturers have months of inventory. I think like Jeep has like 6 months of inventory sitting on their lots. And it's sort of unprecedented for them to have that much. It's been, I mean, it's happened before, but it's been a long time. And a few other car companies, most of the big car companies are averaging 100 days of inventory sitting out in the market, which is a lot for them. The only major one that wasn't was
Honda.
Toyota. Toyota was like at 32 days, and then Honda was like 36. And then when you start getting into the American manufacturers, you got it really bad. But it didn't include
for the price.
They didn't include Tesla, Rivian, and Lucid because those are direct sellers and they don't go through the dealer model. But Tesla, if you order most of the vehicles, you can get it within a couple of weeks, except for the Cybertruck. The Cybertruck, you'd be on a list for probably 6 months or more, if you get it even in that span. So it's interesting to see where the demand is at. And the truth is, you know, Tesla outsells them all. Let's go ahead and look at Tesla while we're at it.
Sure. Tesla's the giant. And Tesla's doing exactly as we said it's going to do. I told you last week, I reckon it's going to be around 190 bucks. We're 191. So in place, not going anywhere. Tesla's the leader. I really like this zone for entry. I feel like a bomb. When I say a bomb, I mean like a stock nuke, like a quick sell-off, like what happened with Rivian, you know, a quick 25% overnight can happen. I think that would take us probably down to the $160 range. I am a very, very bullish buyer of Tesla at around $150 to $160 range. So until then, I might nibble and play some calls and maybe write some puts, but as of right now, I'm just watching the EV market scaling in. It's going to be a pretty interesting summer. I think Tesla's not going anywhere. It might go down to 160, back up to 200, but it's not moving above there unless some adverse event occurs, and I don't see that happening. The earnings aren't for some time. Let's see when their earnings are going to be. Their earnings are also April 17th. So we got about another month to go, I think, of just some sideway action, my opinion.
Okay, let's go ahead and let's look at SPY.
Oh man,
see what the S&P is doing.
It's bulldozing. It's on steroids right now, as we like to call it, and it's doing very well. I'm still setting up for a market short. So while everybody's proud and maybe celebrating the all-time highs on the S&P 500, I'm getting ready to celebrate the downside. So
what are you thinking is the top you see SPY going to?
I can't predict it because it's right now it's in discovery mode. I can only hope that it gets rejected off of a spot, comes back, rejects off that spot again, and I get there and hope that it doesn't go past it. Nobody can tell the future to the point where if a market's going to go, it's way too big for me. It's way too irrational for me to be trying to predict. I usually just want to follow the trend. But I do see that we're going to see a lot more pain come May. Usually they say, you know, sell in May and go away. Right. So that's really the saying. So, you know, I do see a top coming in. If I'm going to give you a number, I'm going to say 520 on the S&P. So $5,200 on the S&P 500. I'm willing to stand behind that one. But if it does blow above 5,200, I will just wait on the sidelines until I have my entry. It's too high for me to re-enter on a trader type of level. Of course, all my long-term investments are long the market. I believe in the market, so I am long the market overall. I trade it, obviously, and short it in the short term to make sure I make up for any differences in short-term fluctuations on my long-term investments.
Okay, let's look. Oh, let's look and see how Greenland's doing today.
GTEC.
355.
I like him. I like his stock. Great job. I'm telling you, every time I look at it, I tell you it's doing good. You know,
yeah,
so
they're up like 30-something% since they came on the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you know what? They're getting some solid buyers here around the $3 mark. Like I said, for me, to go long on this stock, I'd like to see it around $3 or $3.20. But this is a great area for it. And as you can see, other EV stocks, you know, are getting a little bit of a rug. and these guys aren't. They're floating in space. They're really doing the whole sideways action, but on an upward side, not downward side. So
before we went live today, we were talking about the whole Rivian situation, and this is one of the things people typically, they base the stock on the profit and loss and, the projections and stuff like that. And a lot of times the manufacturers will talk about their own key performance indicators. And they were showing that on a lot of their own key performance indicators for Rivian, they'd done really well. They'd beaten projections. They'd built more vehicles than they said they would and sold them. It was something like, they said 54,000, they sold 57,000, but yet they still weren't able to quite hit the numbers they wanted. And so, sometimes you got to take some of it with a grain of salt, right? But Greenland makes money, and that's what's been kind of weird about them, because they had a naked short sale attack in the past, and it drove them down from like $15 to $2.
right.
And now they're back at 350, but they seem to be something pretty solid. Now, I wanted to talk about a couple of AI stocks today too. So let's start out with NVIDIA, NVDA.
God. Yeah, NVIDIA was holding the weight of the market on its shoulders yesterday. People.
Yeah, I've been seeing that, and people have been drawing memes of NVIDIA with the weight of the world on its shoulders.
Right. That's right. Well, listen, man, NVIDIA is price discovery mode. Largest semiconductor / tech / AI company in the world. They're absolutely bonkers on steroids right now, probably crossing $2 trillion in market cap. There's nothing that I can say that's like negative about a company that innovates and creates new things every single day that are being used in applications on every market, like in manufacturing, in production of vehicles and batteries and computers and you name it, right? So as a fundamentalist, I love NVIDIA. I love AMD. I am a long-term investor of AMD. I bought them at $10. So, I do believe in the tech companies. NVIDIA's NVIDIA. I can't really even give you a reading on it. I'm looking to short the market very soon. Do I see that tech goes along with it? Maybe. Usually tech goes first. Right now, tech is doing really well. So I'm conflicted. As a contrarian, you want to believe in these stocks because they're really innovating every single day, and the stock price shows it's up like 20% since it's reported its earnings. 25%.
Yeah, one day what's going to happen is we're going to find out all these AI companies really have a bunch of kids locked up in a room, and the kids are answering all the queries and they're just typing really fast.
Yeah, hey, it's possible, man. But again, if you want me to give you some numbers on NVIDIA, I see NVIDIA maybe topping out at like $900. I can't even tell.
Good Lord.
And I see that definitely in the works. When we get extreme selling in the market, NVIDIA will probably settle around $500. So it's cemented. It's looking really good, man. There's not like this is a great chart.
Could we set up an option play on this in the Discord, maybe?
Not worth it. The prices are too high, and the volume is just it's too high. If you want to go out anywhere like a month in the future, you're paying for a contract a few $1,000s, right? So
got it.
I mean, you got to just have a good strategy. But I'll tell you something. If they're gonna sell it off, they're gonna sell it off right here, like in this next month or 2 months, because otherwise, it's gonna cement this zone, and I don't think it's gonna happen. So it's just too big of a market cap, So.
Well, let's look at then Super Micro. So that's SMCI. They're at 860 right now.
Wow.
Now they went down today.
Yeah, I mean these stocks are just like wow. Like wow, man.
Wow. They're tiny compared to NVIDIA at 48 billion.
Oh yeah, but you're talking August 2022, A year and a half ago, they were at $80. Right now they're at $800. Wow. I'm just see, I don't even know this company. That's how crazy it is. I mean, tech is just insane. I got nothing to say. I mean, this is like you have to like short-term trade. Look at this kind of company. Very bullish, a lot of buyers, and I can't even give you a rating on this. It's just right now it's in a topping sequence. I do see that it's probably going to cool off, but the buyers are going to probably come in around the moving averages here. So um, I'd have to cover it, to kind of see and give you readings on it. These
Sure.
these stocks sometimes when you're talking super mega large caps like 50 billion and above, it's so controlled it doesn't matter what I'm looking at. A lot of the times, the institutions just come in and defend those zones. So you would see that my readings tell you they're going to come down, and then one day out of the sky, you'll just see the price is higher. How? Well, a bunch of people bought in the pre-market and aftermarket based on some institutional move, and all of the technical play is probably broken because you're just looking at a very short-term period. So, point of matter is, guys, we can't tell the future, but we can give pretty good accurate predictions based on historic results and previous things we can see.
Right.
I got nothing to say about super microcomputer. It's $800. It's up 10x in 2 years. I mean, how much? I mean, who wants to buy here? I don't know. I'm not buying here.
No, well, and our next stock is kind of in the same boat. We're going to look at Intuitive, ISRG.
ISRG is a long-term company that I know about. I've never owned this company, but honestly, they are doing very, very well. Very, very futuristic robotics, surgical action, and a lot of medical, collaborations between AI and robotics and the medical industry and etc. So I love this stock. I heard about this stock back when it was $200. It's at $390 right now. So obviously it's done very well. I don't own the stock. Do I think it's going to continue going higher? Yes, I do. Is it going to cool down? It might, but honestly, this stock is probably fair value where it's at today and will continue to rise just because of the innovation that they're doing with AI and with the medical field.
So you see, you can't even tell from looking at it any idea of where it might be
Well,
at
I can
resistance.
tell, but again, the stocks that are up like 50% in a matter of 3 months time, I really just have no reason to cover anything on because it's like you're really harder speculating. It's not ripe for buying right now. So when I look at things and I don't usually give out anything, I like them. Am I going to enter them as a trade? Not the right area for it to get in here. So where would I buy ISRG? Around the $330 to $340 range if I'm lucky. I would love to get in there.
All right, pick a market cap of an AI related stock that.
Well, there's a company called AI. What's their
Okay.
market? Pretty sure they're working with AI, and they are $3 billion market cap. Okay, so this is something to attract some
Oh, so
attention.
that's C3. Okay.
C3, that's right. C3.ai.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting time, interesting chart. Probably, okay, worth a nibble anywhere between $24 to $26. This is a decent stock here, and they actually have their earnings coming up on 28th of February. So there might be, a little bit more downside to the $23-24 mark, but I think this earnings is just gonna cement the sideways action in the bottom of $23. So if I'm going to cover AI stock, I will put a line in the sand anywhere above and below $23, and I would like to see this stay above it for the duration of the next few weeks. And if it does, this is an excellent buy for stock. AI above $24, maybe $26.
At least it's not $700 or $800 like the other
Well, that's the
ones.
thing, right? These smaller market cap ones are a lot easier to kind of see readings on because the institutions that are even involved are not monster institutions. But when you're looking at a $1 trillion market cap, there's a monster institution that might put in $10 billion at one time. I mean, you just can't go against that. If they're buying that much, 3, 4, $5 billion, they're going to control the stock. So
Right.
that's the whole
Well,
thing.
and this one at $26, it'd be a lot easier to get into an option play on something like this.
Absolutely. It's not going to cost you thousands of dollars to get an option, one contract,
All right. Well, good deal.
Yeah,
I think we covered enough for today.
absolutely.
No, that was good. That was good. We've had lots of people watching today. Anyways, if folks, if you'd like to see us cover a different stock, make sure you let us know in the comments. And, until next time, we will see you guys next week.
Absolutely.